Essentially, yeah, you got to get it right
Okay.
the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's a lot of talk right now with, shifting demographics. We got the millennial demographic that is moving, they're buying homes for the first time. They're starting families. You just started a family yourself.
Yeah.
And then we get the baby boomers that are living longer. They're not moving on their house and selling as early as they once did. And then we get the Gen Zs that are even larger than the millennials. They're moving on their parents' house for the first time. They're looking for apartments to rent. So there's a lot of talk with these shifting demographics right now. Tell me the pros and cons of employing or placing your child on payroll.
Oh man. Well, first off, you're teaching them life skills. I flash back to when my mother invited me into her tax and accounting office when I was 14 years old. And at the time, I was not thrilled about working in a tax office, but she had me picking up staples off the ground and, picking up printer paper. This was back then before everything was digital, right? So you filed paper tax returns with the IRS. You sent in your tax returns via mail. But it taught me a lot about discipline. It taught me a lot about hard work. I even learned how to pick up the phones and talk to people that were business owners and real estate investors as I grew in that position that I was in. But more importantly, it taught me the value of money because I earned money at that time. And that was the money that I had to spend if I wanted to go do things. If I wanted to go to the movies, I want to go hang out with my friends. My parents aren't ripping me off $20 bills out of their pocket. They're ripping me off money off of my paycheck that I got for working for their business. Now, you ask me what's the benefit? I'm a tax professional. We get to write off $14,600 per child on the tax returns. That's over $29,000 if we have 2 children. If you're at a 37% tax rate, man, you're looking at over $10,000 in savings, and we're just talking 2 kids. So you could really save money on your taxes by simply employing your children without them needing to file a tax return, while also simultaneously teaching them life skills and being able to learn the family
Is
business.
there an age cutoff for that or no?
18 is the cutoff to when the child has to, 1, report the income, and 2, file a tax return.
Oh,
So if
so they
they're,
could be one and you could literally employ them
well,
legally?
if you are going to go as far as to hire somebody that's only 1 years old, you're going to have an uphill battle of proof to show that you were able to leverage your child as a child actor, advertising, marketing that then led to you generating
What if
income.
what if you have a 1-year-old child and they're like a big part of your social media, which is marketing for your business?
Absolutely, they
They're like
can. And then they're a child
they're in
actor.
your videos.
Right.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
would say that if you're going to pay a child like that, I wouldn't probably go all the way to the extent to try to push all the way up to the standard deduction,
Got it. Just do like
14,600.
partial.
Yeah, but I may have a partial payment, maybe $2,000, $3,000 for the year, for my daughter coming on and being on my websites, doing modeling or whatever it might be to market that we place children on payroll as a tax and accounting company, right? So yeah, it needs to be reasonable.
That makes sense. Now, how about placing your spouse on payroll? What are the
Yeah.
pros and cons of that?
Okay, so some of the pros to placing your spouse on payroll is, well, 1, you get a tax deduction anytime you place anybody on payroll. It's nice that you have a spouse that you can place on payroll, and that person can get a deduction, whether it's a he or a she. That person can work with you inside of the business, earn a salary for it, and the business benefits because it's a tax deduction to the business. That being said, maybe you care about your wife or you care about your husband having a retirement account too. Well, if they're not currently employed, you can employ them inside of your business, whether it's an LLC or an S corporation, place them on salary, and then also provide them with a 401k group plan so they can contribute $20,000 to their 401k and get a tax deduction for that as well. So this is a way in which you can help your wife or help your husband work inside of the business, reduce the tax bill, and contribute to the both of your guys' retirement accounts simultaneously. The downsides, though, for some taxpayers who are jumping into this without working with a tax strategist is for those taxpayers that want to use real estate to offset their tax bill, their spouses actually need to be unemployed and not receiving W-2 income. And the reason I say this is because the IRS has this rule called real estate professional status, where you have to show the government you're spending more time in real estate than any W-2 or 1099 job that you're in. So if I have my wife working inside of my business and she's the real estate professional, we have to track all of the hours that she's working in the business and all of the hours that she's working as a real estate professional. And the hours that she works as a real estate professional has to meet 750 and be more than the hours that she spent being a W-2 taxpayer working underneath the business. And for many taxpayers, that's hard to justify when they find out about these tax strategies late in the year and they miss out on massive amounts of savings.
Wow. And so remind me, if you employ your spouse, what is the additional deduction, the max deduction for there?
You get the payroll tax deduction of whatever salary you place them on payroll for. So if the business made $1 million and you pay your wife $100K, now the business is only being taxed at
900.
$900,000.
Got it.
That being said, you could also place your spouse on a 401k plan. So that's another $20,500 that's going into the 401k right there, right? So now you reduce your tax bill down even further. So it's payroll deductions that you're receiving by placing your spouse on payroll.
Would this work with like a girlfriend as well? It has to be married.
No, it does not have to be married. So if you had a
It could be a girlfriend,
girlfriend
yeah.
or a boyfriend that you would like to work inside of the business, you can place them on payroll, give them the W-2 salary, and shift income to them and reduce the business's overall profits. Or if it's a girlfriend, or same thing, you would be able to place them on payroll or 1099 and shift income to them, reducing the overall tax bill for the business owner.
Because as I grow, I know a lot of guys value like a partner that's gonna, go out there and make money and that sort of thing. And then the dual income is going to effectively allow you to live a better lifestyle. But as I grow, I really don't value a woman or partner, potential partner, that is going to be tied down to a 9 to 5, only be able to take a couple weeks of vacation a year. I now value a woman that's going to have availability to go out and explore the world and live this journey with me, right? I just grinded to reposition my life to where I'm not working that 9 to 5, to where I have a little bit of freedom to where I can go do cool things. And so I want a spouse that's going to have the availability. I value that. But I also want a spouse that's going to, stay at home and support in raising the family, raising the kids and all that sort of thing when the right time comes for that. But in the meantime, I was actually hanging out with my neighbor recently, and this guy named Zeb, he's the founder of ClickUp.
Oh, nice.
$5 billion company. Really cool dude. And he's been living right in the penthouse right below me for like the last year. And he's only there on Tuesday nights, 1 day a week. He lives somewhere else for the rest of the week. But everyone's like, oh, you got to meet Zeb. Finally met him like 3 weeks ago. Coolest freaking dude. He's only 35 years old. He's running this freaking massive company, 2,000 employees. And he's gearing up to go public here in about a year. Great dude. But anyways, what he's saying is he's got an executive assistant, but he also has a personal assistant.
Oh, nice.
His personal assistant does all the day-to-day at the house, cooks, cleans, runs all the errands, personal stuff for him, something that his executive assistant does not do. And I thought, man, it'd be cool, because I want that. But I'm like, well, if I had a girlfriend, like a stay-at-home girlfriend that could do all those things, I could employ her to do all those things. And then it's kind of a win-win scenario, right? So
100%.
That was where my mind went.
I love that, man. When me and my wife were going through COVID, she was actually working with another employer at the time, and I was building my business and it was taking off. And that was the time that I asked her, hey, can you leave your employer? I'm spending time in this business and I could really use the help. Plus, our lifestyle is becoming a little bit different where, if I want to take off for 5 or 6 days, I have the ability to. You're kind of tied to the desk right now. And it was a hard transition because she was passionate about what she did. She was helping, people that, weren't able to walk, get into these very luxurious wheelchairs. And she was working for a medical device company doing that. But I explained to her, you're helping this business grow, and there's no guarantee that this business is going to keep you long-term or plan for your retirement long-term, or has thought about how to take your salary from where it is to triple the amount, right? While also giving you the time back. But I'm building a family business for the both of us. What if we were to spend time in this business together and it gave us both the lifestyle that we want? And then it gives you the choices that you want to be able to do. If you want to go back to that job, or if you want to never work again, it gives you the choices. And so she made the hard choice. It was very hard. She cried about it. But fast forward now, she absolutely loves being a business owner. She's the one encouraging me. Let's go take off on a vacation, go work in Miami or somewhere for a week. And it is so much more enjoyable having a wife that understands the grind, understands the stress, understands the long hours, understands dealing with clients, patients, all of that stuff. And it's allowed for us to bond.